So today we are all here to speak about the hospitality industry, in particular inside the luxury hospitality industry. So we have the special guest Estelle and Carl, who was also a student inside the University of Monaco. And I will start to introduce myself. So I am Valentin. I am a student from the master. I am here since 2 years ago. So I did my bachelor here also in hospitality. Before I did an hospitality school in the north of France, in Le Touquet, Paris Plage. I have some experiences for the Barrier Group. So I used to work for Le Fouquet, Le Majestic, and the Westminster in Le Touquet. So it was in a reopening for this hotel in Le Touquet and an upgrade because before it was a 4-star hotel and after the renovation it was a 5-star hotel. And during my 3rd year of bachelor, I decided to move in Paris for my internship in Le Plaza Athénée. So it belongs to the Dorchester collection. Maybe some of you know this palace because it's really famous with some of movies and it's the most glamorous palace in Paris. And so I was in Le Plaza Athénée for my internship and to do the finance part. So I was in charge of all the revenue and I was in charge also to manage all this revenue during 6 months during this internship. So I'll let Estelle first to present yourself and after Carl if you want.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Estelle. I own a events agency called Maison Events. It's based in Monaco, in the Monaco Boost, which is the business incubator of Monaco. I was also an MSc Luxury Management student. We graduated in 2019. After that, I headed into marketing for Morton Brown. So that's where I started a bit my passion for events because I was doing client events, marketing events, press, influencer events for the brand as part of many other things within marketing. And then I decided to specialize. So after that, actually COVID hit and all of that part of my job was completely put on hold. And I saw an opportunity to move into the tech industry. So I became a project manager for virtual events in a tech company. And then that, when COVID ended, basically transformed into a senior marketing manager role in that tech company. But I just realized that what I really wanted to do was my own thing. So I opened the company Maison. It's going to be 2 years ago in December. We've been actively in business basically this year because the first year is always a bit wobbly. And what we do there is corporate and private events, anything B2B, so conferences, seminars, marketing, press events, but also all the private ones that are going to be weddings, birthdays, baby showers, baptisms, and things like that. So celebrations for families. That's a bit of an easy brief.
Okay. Carl, you can present you, please.
Yes, of course. So the same as Estelle, I was a student at IUM as well. We started in 2017. So I was in the luxury program. I did my specialization in hospitality. I'm originally from Lebanon. So before I joined the master, I worked for 2 years in a 5-star hotel in Beirut in the event department. And so during the masters, I don't know if it's the same concept as we had at our time, but during our second semester, we needed to choose our specialization either in fashion or in hospitality. So I chose hospitality. And after that, when I finished IUM, I worked for 5 years at the Peninsula in Paris, which is a palace. Excuse me, Valentin, but better than the Plaza. Joking. So during my 5 years at the Peninsula, I worked in the event and group department. So I used to take care of all type of events that were held there. So meetings, weddings, cocktail receptions, privatizations of restaurants, gastronomic dinners, stuff like that. And also the groups. The groups means that it's the everything that is corporate groups. For example, when a company books more than 10 rooms for their guests, for example, Dior wants to invite all their ambassadors and the influencers for a specific event that is happening in Paris. They need to book some rooms at the hotel, and whenever they have this kind of booking, it's a different organization than the individual ones. So I used to take care of that as well. And I left the peninsula at the end of 2022 after 5 years there. And now I joined the Kimpton. It's a lifestyle luxury hotel in Paris, located at the Opera. And I'm the director of the groups and events. So same concept, taking care of the events, taking care of the groups. That's it. That's
Okay.
for me.
Okay, thank you. Maybe do you have some questions? I speak for the students. If you have some question, do not hesitate to raise your hands or maybe to ask directly or to write a message. And maybe Carl and Estelle, could you explain how did you choose the hospitality port and why?
Estelle, shall you start, or Estelle is still with us?
I don't know. No, she's not there.
Okay. So for my part, I chose the hospitality because personally, I always liked the hotel words, the word of the hospitality word. I mean, so I always had a good contact with people. I always loved to be next and here for the people, help them achieving their goal, their dreams. So I did some internships when I was still in Lebanon in different fields, and this field was the most interesting for me. So I started there, and I can't leave them.
Okay. And do you think that it's easy to directly enter in the world of luxury without experience, or you have maybe to start?
No, it's like you have two options. Either you start in the luxury hospitality since your beginning and you need to accept the fact that you're going to start from scratch, or you build yourself up in the classic hospitality, and then you go there. There's one thing you need to keep in mind is that whenever you go from the traditional hospitality to the luxury hospitality, you will always have this impression that you're being downgraded compared to the traditional hospitality and classic hospitality, because like you need to keep in mind that, for example, in a palace, working 1 year in a palace is like working 4 years in a classic hotel. The activity, the intensity, the level of expectations of your guests is so high that it's really like challenging. It's not like I'm gonna be really honest. It's not done for anyone, for everyone. I mean, like you need to be okay with the fact that you start your day at a specific time of the day, like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., but you never know at what time you finish. You see, it's like you need to have the pace. You need to have the level of expectation needs to be super high, because the guests have expectations that are higher than you could imagine. It's like you never know how much the expectation can be high whenever you have a guest in this field, in the luxury field. So you can do both, but you always need to keep in mind that if you start with the luxury hospitality with no experience in luxury first, you will always start from scratch, from the beginning, first level entry. It's normal. It's normal because although a lot of skills in the hospitality are either you have it or you don't, it's something that you have with education and everything. But the luxury is different. Like people expect some stuff that you don't even think about it. So that's it. And if you go from the traditional hospitality, to the luxury hospitality, you need to be okay with the fact that it's okay to feel that you're downgraded, because although you will have the impression that in the classic hospitality you have a lot of work and you have a lot of experience, it's technically nothing in comparison to the luxury field.
Yes, sorry, Estelle. We spoke just about why and how did you choose the hospitality specialization, and is it hard to enter in this luxury industry without no experience before? What do you think?
So I actually didn't choose the hospitality. Sorry, I didn't mention it earlier. I chose the brand. So I did the first semester in the fashion team. I hadn't made my choice yet. And then in January, I decided to join the brand one, which was a bit more. I can't remember. Actually, I'm having a doubt whether I did fashion or brand. My bad.
Big
But I know
brand.
it wasn't. I think I was brand, right? Because we did
Yeah,
have
you
a
did
few
brand.
classes together. So yeah, I went for brand because it was a bit I wasn't too sure exactly what to do yet at this point. Luxury industry was very much, I don't know, I was drawn to it kind of naturally from the start when I did. So before my master's, I did a bachelor's in fashion promotion and communication. And all my projects I was doing for school, I always oriented towards like luxury brand studies. And I did my final year of my bachelor's dissertation on what is luxury and how it affects consumer behavior. So I was always kind of fascinated by it. I am from Monaco. I'm a Monegasque citizen. I've grown up surrounded by luxury, basically, but funnily enough, I'm basically the only one out of my siblings who care about it. So it's very much something you like or you don't. So that's it was kind of a given for me, and I tried my internship during the masters was at LVMH hotel management. I was doing PR and communications. So it was my first try of Paris, and I realized Paris wasn't for me. That's why I went for London instead. Did my career there before moving back to Monaco because it's
Okay.
home. So it just makes sense.
Could you maybe explain what you did for LVMH before?
Yeah, so I did a 6 month internship at LVMH Hotel Management. So it's the Cheval Blanc and at the time white 1921 hotels that they have. I don't believe they have the white 1921 anymore. But so I was doing PR and communication. So anything that was putting the brand in front of our clients. So getting personalized golf balls for the golf course in the Maldives to creating chocolates for the opening of the Samaritaine, which was meant to happen just at the end of the internship, but the works were delayed and then COVID hit, so that actually didn't happen until way after I left. But it was really, really cool to be working on the Samaritaine opening of Cheval Blanc. Anything that basically brought the brand in front of clients. And I was looking at New Year's Eve parties for the hotels, which artists we were going to get into the hotels. It was very, very varied.
Okay. It was one of your best experience or not? No?
Was it my best experience?
Yes.
No.
We
No. I'm gonna be very honest, it was not my favorite. I did learn a lot and it did confirm that what I wanted to do in life was go into the luxury industry. It was just, I don't think the company was a fit for me. And again, like my biggest thing was I didn't want to be in Paris. So no, it wasn't my best experience. My best experience was at Molton Brown in London. I was surrounded by passionate, creative people, and that just whoever you work with, for me at least, makes a huge difference. And that's where I had like the best start of a career I could have ever imagined.
And you, what about Carl? Because what's your best experience during
My best
your...
experience is definitely my experience at the peninsula. It's something that, like I said, like I told you at the beginning in my presentation, before I started my hospitality, my master's at IUM, I was working in the event department in a five-star hotel in Beirut, and then I went to the peninsula. So in between brackets, I'm gonna add something to your previous question. I'm not sure I would have gotten the job without my master's at IUM. So let you know that it's quite hard to enter the luxury industry in like hospitality, fashion, or whatsoever. Luxury is quite a small word. It's like a private club. It's something like where, like for example, where Soho House, something like that. It's the same. Like you need to know people to get into this field or have a good background. And my good background was my master's at the IUM. So guys, everyone who's listening, and it's not because I'm not saying this because I'm participating to this webinar or whatsoever, but although you might have some days during this year where you ask yourself, did you choose the right, did you take the right decision to do this master's or no? I can guarantee that yes, you did the right decision, because this master's will open a lot of doors, especially for the luxury field, because Monaco is the reference for luxury wherever you go. And people, when they see Monaco in your CV and they see that it's associated with the with luxury field, they will contact you like on the spot. Like just for an example, I applied first at the Peninsula as an intern. I did my application at 2 a.m. in the morning. I got a call at 9 a.m. The 7 hours later, I got a call. It's really, whereas I didn't have this chance when I was still working in Lebanon, and still wanting to find my way into the luxury field. So going back to your second question, my best experience was the Peninsula, because this was after the masters that I did at IOM, this was the first experience that really put me into the world of luxury. And like I said, although of course that my experience in Lebanon helped me. Of course that my 2 years working in the event department in a five-star hotel helped me, because this is why I was able to master my internship. But you learn a lot of stuff that you have never thought about it. It's like crazy how you grow up in this field. Like I said before, 1 year in a palace or in the luxury field, hospitality at least, is equal of, I don't know, 2 or 3 years in a five-star hotel. Like you learn so much, and you end up finding solutions for everything. And well, that's it. If I would choose something like my best experience, it would definitely be the Peninsula.
I just want to echo the fact that this master's definitely helped me get that internship at LVMH Hotel Management, and that was my first step into the luxury industry, because during the career days, and that I'm gonna actually push that a lot for you guys listening. Make sure that you make the most of whatever networking or whatever event the IOM school puts for you, because I don't know of any school that does that much for their students. So what happened for me is I got a interview with the Louis Vuitton team, thanks to IOM, because they did the speed business dating thing where you would show up in front of an employer, have 3 minutes to convince them. And without this, it's really hard to get into the LVMH group, because without a referral, you can send your CV and you have to be extremely lucky. Exactly. You have to be extremely lucky to even get a no email reply. So I got an internship at Louis Vuitton first, thanks to IOM, by going to these speed business interviews. I scored a 2-month internship before I did the double degree with Milan, with the Politecnico di Milano. So between the end of my master's and the beginning of the school year in Milan, I did the 2-month internship at Louis Vuitton. And at the end of the 3 months in Milan, I got to score an internship at LVMH, but I also had an offer for Chanel and for Dior in store. So make sure that whenever these events are put in place, you don't be lazy, actually show up. And most importantly, if you do book appointments, if you do book seminars, make sure you show up, because that is going to be your key to your first step of the bottom of the ladder of luxury, which is already very difficult to reach.
And could you explain the type of clientele that you had at the Peninsula and inside the Cheval Blanc?
At the peninsula, you have all types of clientele. You will have like big companies doing their seminars at the hotel. You'll have the fashion brand, luxury brands like Cartier, Dior, Chanel, the biggest brands actually that will come. You'll have some athletes, some stars. Um, you don't even you can't imagine the amount of celebrities that you meet when you're in a palace. The same way as you meet them when you walk in Monaco, it's the same. We also received some football teams who came in Paris to play against PSG. Some NBA teams who played in Paris for the NBA Paris games. Like all types, like you will find people who something I'm not supposed to say, but we had some people the same level as Bill Gates, Elon Musk, stuff like that, that comes and sleep at this kind of hotel when they're in Paris. So you get to meet every field, everyone, but high-end people, you know, like
And what do they expect?
they expect they expect you to anticipate their needs. That's the secret in the hospitality. Like, let's be honest. For example, say you have. Okay, I'm going to describe you what's the difference between a five-star hotel and a palace, for example. Okay, say tomorrow you receive an inquiry for, I don't know, a super famous basketball player. Okay, so it's not just about like doing the reservation and booking the room. You have the guest relation that will intervene in this file to see to do the researches about the preferences of his wife, the preferences of his kids, and everything. So whenever this person comes into the room, they have a lot of amenities that are linked to their preferences and that for what they love. You know, for example, I don't know if would I have the information that this person collects, I don't know, cigars. Okay, he will find a box of cigars of his best brand waiting for him in the room. And this is, of course, free of charge. It's not something that you charge for the clients. It's really gifts that you do. So to create emotions and so they can continue, they can talk about it in between each other. So this is for the part of the guest relation. We also receive some riders. Riders mean that, for example, we know that this specific person likes to drink this specific brand of water, this specific brand of soda and everything, and they won't even touch it if you bring the same product but another brand. For example, if you have the information that this person likes to drink Evian water and you give him I don't know, Cristalline, the crystalline will stay here the whole stay. It won't be touched, you know, like, so you need to, and you have a lot of details that you look at it, you're like, what's this? But you need to, this is what they expect actually. They expect you to treat them as if they were at home. And people with like a lot of wealthy people usually have a lot of expectations and you need to meet them.
As of Cheval Blanc, I was actually in the head office. I was never in the hotels, and I was not doing events, so I wouldn't be able to answer the question. But again, same. It's the same level of standards because they are palaces, as Carl explained. But as for my own client, for my company, it's basically the same. Even though we plan events that are completely different, and I'm talking about the private branch, so anything that's going to be family celebrations, they also expect. They basically have no expectations in the sense that there's no limit to what they can expect. So it's very much a matter of understanding what they want and how they want it before they even figure it out. So when I'm planning a wedding for a ultra high net worth family, they don't expect me to ask if the bride wants a white or a pink flower. I should have investigated first and understand what her vibe is and what her mood is. And with the conversations that I gather, it's a matter of, it's very much an investigative work. So if you like figuring things out, that's very much what the job is. So that one I can answer.
Okay. One other question for you, Estelle. Why did you choose to create your own company? And is it hard to build that in Monaco?
The reason why is because I had been in that tech industry for 3 years actually, and I realized, and it was a big American corporation, and I realized that what I actually wanted was to go back into the luxury industry, and I had enough of the corporate world, and I just wanted to do my own thing because I had the ideas. I've been talking about this agency, Carl probably remembers, for years about creating my own thing and becoming an entrepreneur and just doing my own thing since basically I started working. So building a company in Monaco is not difficult for me because, again, I want to put this out there. I have the passport, so I do get a lot of ease. Building an events company in Monaco today is not possible unless you are a Monegasque citizen because it's an overrepresented business. Like, you will have your real estate agents or construction companies. These are no longer open to anyone but the citizens of Monaco. So I'm lucky enough to be part of the 8,000 of these people. So yes, for me, it was very easy. I just showed up with a business plan at the business incubator Monaco Boost, made a presentation. They accepted the project, and they gave me a desk, and that's how I could have an address and make it all legal and official. It's very much feasible if you're in France or anywhere else in the world, for sure. The best way to start, except for Monaco, is to start, if you want to start for yourself, is to start as a freelancer, to make yourself available to help other companies to work on their project. In my case, I hire freelancers on each of our projects. So we're going to have, I was actually last week on a 560 guest Indian wedding in the UK. And we work with another wedding planner that takes care of all the Indian cultural aspect of the wedding, and we do all the operations. And that's where we need a lot of staff because we're handling 560 guests. So the best way to start as an entrepreneur is to start as a freelancer and offer your services as help to other companies. So contact wedding planners, contact all the events companies you can find, and offer your services for an invoice, basically.
Okay. And did you have already the opportunity to collaborate with some luxury brand of Monaco?
Yes, we have just finalized an official partnership with the SBM group. So we have great opportunities to work on weddings and, well, have them as preferred venues for our clients. So we're working with the Monte Carlo Bay, the Vigie, the Melbourne Riviera as well, that we were just visiting with a client who's getting married in September. She was looking at venues, so we're going to organize a brunch, the wedding brunch at the Melbourne, for example. In terms of brands themselves, for the corporate side, I mostly work with very, very different clients, but they're going to be banks and family offices. So still ultra high net worth, but very, very different profile.
Okay.
Just one thing, Valentin, I just saw the question from Andrew Agnello. Andrew, no. Honestly, I never met someone who had a success in marketing or analytics or something else without starting from entry level. And I don't know if Estelle, if you agree with me. I would suggest you not to believe anyone who tells you this thing, because no one starts with the perfect knowledge. No one starts with an experience that they got from their parents or whatsoever. In order to have knowledge, to collect experience, you need to start from scratch, to know everything that, like how you work, the basics of everything. And I don't know if this was also your question, but I can tell you that from my experience, people who got at some positions, high positions, without having to deal with it in the entry level, didn't last long. So I know that when you do masters, when you work, when you study, and when you do masters, no, it's not the first thing you think about to start in an entry level. But trust me, it's for your own good, and there's no shame about that. There's nothing bad about it. everyone starts from scratch. So
I can add to that, absolutely. I agree. So you can indeed have a successful career that is completely different. Whatever your career is, what you make of what you make of it. But when it comes to the luxury industry, you can't sell or advertise or market even a luxury product or service if you have not understood firsthand what the client expects. So let's talk, for example, my internship at Louis Vuitton. I was very much just in the store selling handbags, but I know for a fact that it's impossible to market or to create an event or to make something in that industry and in that brand or any luxury brands if you don't understand the ground level of the work. So the base of this company is the clients buying the bags. So if you don't know anything about the bags and how to sell them, you can't do anything with you can't do anything around that, and you can't evolve in that career. And I was actually, as I just said, on a Indian wedding last week. I just came back Monday at the Four Seasons Hampshire. And one of the employees was telling me every employee of the hotel in the group gets a day or two a year to experience as a guest. And that is from all levels, whether they are on the cleaning team, on the maintenance team, as a chef, as a reception, as a manager. Everyone gets to spend the day as a guest, a night as a guest, to experience the hotel as a guest, so that they can then tailor the experience into the luxury consumer. So sorry, unfortunately, you won't be starting as a director. Unfortunately, there's a lot of
it's not, don't be sorry for this person because it's for its own good.
absolutely. It's for
Honestly,
your own
like
good,
you need,
definitely.
like for example, I'm gonna just talk about my situation. Today, I'm the director of the event department. I deal, my team is made of people that are quite junior, that just finished school. Uh, they find themselves in some situations where they cannot answer the client or they cannot solve it, and this is where I come in the subject, and then but the only difference between them and me, and the only reason why I can answer and I solve this problem, is because I have dealt with the same problems when I was at their level. And it's the only way, if you want to be a good manager or a good director, it's the only way to do it. Like if you just want to have the title and don't really care about how to manage and how to, yeah, to manage the business and the team, yeah, I'm sure you will find something where you will start from scratch. You will directly start as a director, but your management and you won't be happy in the job.
I just want to add as well, like, of course, if you have a 10-year experience in
Yeah, sure,
that's different, right? But when we're
sure.
talking about, as Carl said, like he's done 2 years before his master's, he still started from the bottom of the ladder when he got into the
And I
luxury
struggled,
industry.
and I struggled at
And
first. No, really, like my 2 years experience helped me be amazing as an intern. Okay, when my intern finished and I got my contract, I struggled because it's not the same. It's
yeah,
technically not the same. The way you sell an event in the luxury event department in the luxury field is not the same way you sell it in a five-star hotel. Although the five-star hotel has a perfect quality and it's good, like there's no shame about five-star hotel, but you deal with requests that you don't see uh, in the, what do we say, in the five star. Like just for an example, we used to, when I was in the peninsula, we used to dismantle a whole suite that was like 300 square meters to make it like to transform it as a restaurant, as a banquet space. Like you do a lot of stuff, you need to be aware of a lot of technical stuff, you need to think about everything, because once you're in the event department, you are the head of the event. You decide, if you don't take care of, if you forgot about a single detail, it's not the operation team that will think about it. They will make you notice it on the day when it's already too late. But in order for you to anticipate everything and the rest,
yeah.
yeah, you need to start from scratch, unfortunately.
We got more context from Viola, so that makes more sense to the question. But yeah, if you
Yeah,
have 10
okay.
plus years experience, it's very
Completely different.
of
But
course.
at the same time, we're answering for the rest of the
For the masters, for
for
the
the masters,
MSCs, who
like
usually
we
come
have
out of the
55
bachelors,
people.
yeah.
So of course, excuse me, Andrew, we didn't know that what was your background. So it's not
No,
nothing
from an
against you
MBA
whatsoever.
perspective, MBAs
MBA
are
perspective
completely
is
different
another
ballgame.
story. MBA
Absolutely,
perspective
because
is another
because
story.
exactly as we're explaining, you will have had the experience of dealing with the low level stuff already. So yeah, no, MBAs different ball game. We are very much on our
We need to
MSc
learn from you.
perspective.
We
Exactly.
need to
If
learn from
anything,
you,
you have more
Andrew. It's
experience. Exactly.
maybe when you finish IOM, we will do a webinar with you. It's another story, the MBA.
Could you
Thanks
maybe
for the context.
explain which are the most important skills to work in this type of industry?
Number one thing is emotional intelligence and empathy. You cannot deal with an ultra high net worth person if you do not understand where they're coming from and what would, and not necessarily from like a 100% background perspective, but like from a point of view. So if you are not an empathetic person and if you're not someone who's easily going to put yourself in someone else's shoes, that's going to be a big thing that you need to learn how to do. Because in order to anticipate everyone's needs, you need to understand where they're coming from. So that's my number one. It's empathy and yeah, emotional intelligence.
Okay, thank you.
I would say also the flexibility.
Yeah.
Because luxury is not the field where you have day offs. And Estelle is laughing. Luxury is not a field where you have day offs. Luxury is not a field where you think you can totally disconnect, although you can do it. But if you really want to succeed in it, if you really want to thrive in it, you need to be okay with the fact that you need to be really flexible. You need to do long hours. You need to be there for the guest. Sometimes I receive calls for site visits at 8 p.m. Okay, it's fine. I'll do it. I'll wait for the client to come, even though he'll be late. Of course, you don't need to be in a situation where the clients do whatever he wants with you, but you need to be like, of course, put some limits, but you need to be really flexible and try not to compare yourself with your clients. Like, although you come from a good backgrounds and everything, put it at an advantage for you because when you are familiar with the luxury industry because you grew up in it or whatsoever, it helps you understand the client. But
And how the master in luxury can help the students to work in this industry?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
How the master in luxury can help the students today to work in the industry?
Well, there's so much that you learn, as Carl mentioned at the beginning, like there's so much that you learn you didn't even realize you were learning. Like looking back, can you guys still hear me?
yeah, we hear you.
Okay. There was a couple of instances, as Carl said, I was looking back and I was like, am I going in the right direction? And then you get out and when you look back, you understand like, actually I've learned so much I didn't even realize. And maybe it's something that you already know, but you haven't seen in that context. So that is 100% super helpful. Again, I'm going to put it again out there, like the networking opportunities with this school are insane.
Networking is the greatest thing. And again, IOM helps you a lot with this. Like, and I don't know if you're finished, if you're done, Estelle, answering this question, but I would say also something, Marine and Viola, sorry in advance for what I'm gonna say. It's not a bad thing, yeah, but might not be interpreted in a real way. You guys still have classes with Phil Klaus?
Yes, we
Yeah.
see.
Phil Klaus, whatever he says is the word of God.
Absolutely. Anything he
No
will teach
offense to
you.
the others. No offense to
It
the
doesn't take
others.
anything away from the other teachers, but
Yeah,
if you have
exactly.
if
No
you're
offense.
lucky
And
to
this is
have
why I
Professor Klaus,
exactly this is why I excused myself in advance towards Viola and Marine. But like whenever I used to get lost, I used to think about the classes of Klaus and what he was telling us and what he taught us, and he got it on point. So really, Phil Klaus,
everyone.
whatever he says is like consider it as the word of God in regards of the definition of luxury, in regards of the way you work, in regards of the way you treat your client, in regards of like
Even in
everything.
regards on the way you have to create a PowerPoint. Whatever he says in that industry, you have if you're lucky enough to have Professor Klaus as a teacher, believe anything. Whenever I
Yeah,
had a doubt in my career or in the way I should do things, I was lucky enough to meet him before I started the
yeah,
company and I ran it through him and he helped me so much and encouraged me that I was going in the right direction. Proof is I'm doing not too terribly today, so thank you. But no, absolutely, absolutely.
even
Doesn't take
even
anything away from the other tutors for
no, no,
sure,
of
but if
course.
you're lucky enough to have him, take
And
take
even
his
in his
class and make sure
way,
you follow.
even in his punctuality.
Yes.
I'm sure that a lot of you guys didn't attend his class because you were literally 1 or 2 minutes late. But trust me, in the luxury hospitality, this does make the difference in
100%.
everything. In everything. Like I used to be the first running the whole way from La Gare till from the Starbucks till IUM to be on time, and a lot of times I didn't enter the class because I was literally 30 seconds late. But
There was a couple we stood the two of us
even
outside.
in this attitude, you learn a lot and
Yeah,
you understand that the guy is amazing. And
couldn't
if
agree more.
you need like it's not only I'm not gonna say it's the only baggage that I still have from IUM, but it's the most important one.
Mm.
Fair Klaus. Marina and Viola, do your best to keep him at IUM because he's
Maybe some of the students, they have already some questions. If you can raise your hands or to ask in the group chat or directly if you want to speak, it's with pleasure. Because I know that during this webinar, we have a lot of students who are interested about the luxury industry and in particular inside the hospitality industry. So that's why. And during the first semester, they are, like you. Normally, you didn't have already choose the specialization, so you have to choose between brand management, hospitality, diamonds, yachting, and the specialization will be done after the first semester. So that's why they are curious.
So I saw that Antonia asked what's the biggest mistake someone going to the hospitality industry can make. Um, you mean as like mistake as doing your job in your job? Is this your question?
No, like assumptions or like way of behavior or just like in not for example not a specific job but in the way of trying to get into the industry, I guess.
Like first,
So
yeah,
go
okay,
ahead, go ahead.
I understand. So I would say that at first, like for me, the biggest mistake you can do, and that can bit I'm not gonna say ruin your career, but like can
Damage.
damage it, yeah, would be not to be flexible, first of all, because
Mm.
when you're an intern, when you're a starting level, um, like, of course, I said you need to go from the starting from scratch in hospitality, but the difference between you and someone else, and the difference between the one who will succeed easily and everything, will be how rapidly you will evolve in the hospitality. And flexibility is one of those criterias. Like the thing is that hospitality is a job that is really tiring. Unless you're not passionate about it, I wouldn't recommend it for anyone. Like you need to be super passionate about hospitality. And if you're not flexible, if you show to your managers that you're not flexible, that you're not too willing you're not willing to do the extra hours because it's not gonna be updated to your pay grade at the end of the month or whatsoever, this can be a big mistake because this is like keep in mind that your first experience in the hospitality will help you continue your career. It's your ticket to continue the path. You know, the more you have you give good impressions to your managers and to your teammates, the better it will be for you because whenever people will ask recommendations about you, this is what they will tell them about you. So not being flexible, not being helpful, because you find your way in the hospitality industry where you have to help other departments, where you have to help your team members as well, and to have this attitude where I know I finished my job, I did what I had to do, now you can take care of your own shit. Sorry for the word. This will definitely damage your career as well because hospitality, one of the principle of the hospitality is to be there for the other people, to be in it's service, it's a service job, you know, and it's not only with the clients, it's with your colleagues as well. Like your success is the success of your colleague and the success of your colleague is the same as your success as well. If you succeed and your colleagues don't, you didn't do a lot. So I would say that the biggest mistake you can do would be not to be flexible, not to be helpful, and smile is also so important in hospitality that even though you don't like to smile, you need to always smile. Even if you're mad, even if you're angry, even if you're in stress, always smile, always show to your colleagues and to your managers that this doesn't affect you and that you can keep on continuing your work.
I agree.
We have another question from Mitcha Sales. Do you believe that bachelor students should continue to a master after the studies or begin work?
I would say this is a very personal question. So if you I did the master's and now I own a company that's I took a completely random path. But I have did the master's and what's 5 years later is now the director of events. I have a friend who didn't do a master's and she started from the very, very bottom at a beauty company in Puig actually as a marketing intern and an assistant, and she grinded her way up. It's a bit different because it was the beauty industry first, and then she narrowed it down to like working in the Parfum Chloé. And she's doing really well today. She graduated from a bachelor's 5 years ago as well, and she's now a marketing manager. So it's very much a personal choice. It, as we said, whatever you do when you start in the luxury industry, you're going to start from scratch. You do learn so much more during doing the masters at IUM for sure. So you do start with an advantage when you do start in the luxury industry. It's very, very personal. It's personal as well, like on your finances. Don't put yourself in insane amount of debts because you think it's going to bring you insane amount of money, because at the end of the day you are still going to start from the bottom of the ladder in the luxury industry. So do what's more comfortable and what makes sense to you, and I really, really believe this is a personal very, very personal decision. Don't know if you agree, Carl, but that's my point of view.
No, I agree. I agree. It's of course, it's a personal decision. Honestly, I don't. Yeah, I think it's really a personal decision. I would recommend you to work first before doing the masters.
Yeah, that's
It's
also a good one.
it's the path I did, and I found like when I was doing my masters, I thought that my 2 years experience helped me a lot, you know. But it doesn't mean that if you automatically go with the masters, it's not going to be a good idea. It's really like my point of view is to work before the masters, but not too much, because at a certain point you're not gonna want to stop working to to continue the studies anymore. Again, I mean, but personally, my 2 years experience helped me a lot achieving my courses at IUM. I'm not sure I would have it's not that I wouldn't have achieved them, but like it would have not been that easy for me. But again, like Estelle said, it's totally personal.
We have two other questions. Yes, if you want to continue, Estelle.
Yeah, no, I was gonna head on to the
So,
next question.
Barbara, what are your daily tasks in the events? Is it a job where you spend a lot of time doing desk work? So maybe I'm going to start, Estelle,
Yeah, because they're going to be very different
yeah,
answers.
the thing is that although Estelle and I and myself both works in the event department, you need to understand that the events in a hotel are not the same at all as the events as Estelle is doing. So the only common point is that our daily tasks are not the same every day. So this I can talk about. Je peux parler pour toi, Estelle, sur ce point. You never have the same day. You never have a routine. And personally, this is what I love the most in this job. When you're in the event department in a hotel, you do spend a lot of time behind your behind your desk work, because you need to send proposals, do BEOs. BEOs is the fiche technique that you do whenever you have an event. Like it's the document you're going to send to all the departments about a specific events, because you need to understand that when you do an event in a hotel, all the departments of the hotel are in a way or another involved in this event. So a lot of preparation, a lot of organization, meetings with your internal colleagues from different departments, because also they will intervene in this event. So you spend a lot of time at your desk, but you spend also a lot of time on site, because, for example, whenever you send a proposal, your guest will out of, like, I guess maybe one guest out of 5 confirms an event at my hotel without coming and visiting it. Other for the rest, like everyone, they come to visit, they see the spaces, they see options as well. So you do a lot of site visits on the day of the event. Although you're not in my field, I'm not responsible of the operation, but you need to welcome your guest. You need to make sure that your guest is happy, that everything that you both agreed on is implemented as they requested, and then you hand over to the operation team. So you have some time with clients, you have some time in face-to-face where you do site visits. You also do lunches where you invite your guests. Sometimes this can help a lot in the selling strategy. But yeah, well, let's say 60% or 70% of your time is behind the desk, and 30% is on the floor for the event department in the hotel.
For me, I would say the breakdown is about the same, but for very different reasons. Because I own the company I work for, I also do all the social media, all the marketing, all the everything that is not related to event and is very much related to having a business and making it run. So all the accounting. So by the way, big shout out to Mr. Varley, because without him, I would be clueless as to what I'm doing currently. So no, a lot of my desk work is being behind my computer and doing a lot of admin, a lot of marketing, a lot of running a business, and definitely 40 to 30% of my time is going on sites with my clients. So again, I'm going to take back of course, being on site for the events, because we also do the operations and the coordination. So we will be on site and we will be doing on event days everything event related. But ahead of that, there's also a sales aspect. So we're trying to convince our clients to go for us instead of another wedding planner, for example. There's a whole showing them different venues, partnerships, finding other companies within Monaco or outside that we can work with to make our clients happy. So that is going to be very much being out there, being on site, and taking my client around. And these can last, like, again, that client I'm doing in September, they are based in outside of France. So they flew in for a week and we did a week of visits. So for 1 week, I was not behind my desk. I was just going around different hotels and places, and that was amazing. But that also means that when I sat back down behind my computer, I had 1 week of admin to pick up on. So I don't have a day that looks like another. I also interview people that want a job or internships. So that is also a part of my job I didn't expect to be doing, or expect probably, but didn't think I would be doing that much. So no, there's not a single day that looks like the one before. You're welcome. And then, what has been the biggest milestone in your professional career, and what did you get out of it? For me, it's actually really recent. I don't know if you guys saw that big Indian wedding from that richest Asian family in the world, the Ambani family, where they had Rihanna in March, Justin Bieber in June, and the Backstreet Boys in May. We were very, very lucky that our company was hired to help with guest relations on that project on 2 of their pre-weddings. And that's where a moment where I sat back out of the first time we did it, which was 1 week in the UK. I sat on the train back home and I realized I was doing the thing, like I was doing everything I put my energy into. Like I was doing the job I left my entire career for. And that was just an insane out of body experience. When you realize you've reached the thing you've been working for your entire life is crazy. Also having the luck of working on such a huge client at the very beginning of a career is insane. What did I get out of it? So much. I learned so much. Just from cultural perspective to behavior with clients to the scale of amount of guests, like the operations, the relations, like so much. Any experience, work experience that you'll do, you'll get so much out of it. So if I started a list on that, we'd still be here tomorrow, and I can see we're over time anyway, so I'll stop right there.
For me, the biggest milestone was also not far away, was the Olympics. My hotel was totally privatized by 2 clients, 2 big partners of the Olympics. So it's a different challenge and I was taking care of all the stay, like I was taking care of the rooms reservation, of what has, like, all the guests, all the events, all the lunches, all the dinners, like I was taking care of everything, and it's technically a completely different job when it's a privatization of a hotel than when you only have like a booking or whatsoever. It's really something that is super hectic. Like, just for example, in a period of 1 month, I had only 2 days off. You almost live at the hotel because you have people that are paying millions to consider this hotel as their house. So it's a totally different experience. And let's be really frank, after this kind of experience, there's technically no secrets for you in the hospitality industry. Like, you definitely know how to handle everything. So technically, this is what I got out of it. And of course, you end up like the same way Estelle had said, like you have huge satisfaction. So really nice for the career, for personal wise, and everything. So how do you think, what is going first in this industry, satisfying clients' demands or keep your teams calm and performance? Sometimes it could probably run into conflict in luxury segment if client is too demanding. Um,
I would vote
question.
for satisfying clients first. And I mean, they go hand in hand, right? Like when you have a team and they start to panic, you can't satisfy your clients' demands. But at the end of the day, and that will be the case in every job in the luxury industry, whether you're in sales or in operations or in events or a chef, at the end of the day, what counts is satisfying your clients and anticipating their demands. It goes hand in hand with keeping your teams calm, definitely. But number one priority is always going to be when you're on an event, when you're doing the doing, it's going to be satisfying your client.
And you should always keep in mind something, whatever the client is demanding or how much he is demanding or whatsoever, you don't save any lives. And this is something that you
Yeah.
need to always say to your team members, because sometimes the client can be demanding, can be picky. You tend to forget that actually you're only organizing a dinner or a wedding and no one's gonna die. If something messes up, okay,
Absolutely.
it's not a good thing whatsoever. But like whenever you personally, when I have my team being really panicked and some stuff like that, first thing I say is that we don't save any lives. It's stay humble, and that's it.
Absolutely. But never forget, unless you're a paramedic or work in a
Yeah,
hospital.
but we're talking about events now.
But in our case, we're definitely not saving lives. Like if the
We're
bride doesn't
far
get
from that actually.
so far, if the bride doesn't get
Almost the
her,
opposite.
if the bride doesn't get a glass of champagne instead of a pina colada, it's okay. She'll
It's
survive.
fine. It's fine. Although on the moment it's gonna be dramatic, but
She'll
the
survive.
next morning she'll still be happy about her wedding and she'll forget
Absolutely.
about her drink.
As long as you met as many expectations as you physically can, there is going to be human mistake, and it's absolutely fine.
Exactly.
As long as you handle it gracefully as well. Like,
Yeah, and this is what I wanted to say. Like you can do a lot of mistakes without the client noticing it. Yeah, you need
absolutely.
to keep
So
your
many.
calm in both things. Like you don't even imagine the amount of time where I was in front of a client and the client was talking about something, and yeah, of course it's planned. It wasn't planned at all, you know. But never show to your client that you are in stress. First of all, they will start stressing. And depending on the type of the client, they can take advantage of it, and this will be your biggest nightmare. So,
Mm.
first law is like first rule is not to show to anyone that you're doing stressing, especially not the client.
That's why it goes hand in hand with meeting their expectations and keeping your teams calm, because don't
Exactly.
show weakness.
No, don't show weakness at all, especially not in the luxury field.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give a last advice to the students because it's almost the end of the webinar. A last
Mhm.
advice to succeed in this industry.
So first of all, I would say that enjoy to the most your masters at Monaco. Go to as much networking events as possible, even though sometimes it doesn't look interesting for you guys, or you feel that no one's gonna come, no one's important, or you never know, you literally never know who you're gonna meet there. Someone maybe who's a doctor but present there, and you never know, maybe he has an event agency or whatsoever. So this most of you, I suppose, will do an internship instead of doing a thesis after the semester. So give your best because this will be your entry passport, let's say, to the luxury field. And always stay humble and, like we just said, keep calm. You're not saving any lives, so and you will always find something. So
For
all
me,
good.
I would say I echo 100% that. Like whatever we've said until now, take it. Take every opportunity. If you have an opportunity to try something new and you're not too sure, like when I was in that situation at the end of the master's, I was looking for my 6 months internship and I had Dior, Chanel, and LVMH hotel management. Dior and Chanel are two brands that I would have been insanely happy to work for, but they were more sales oriented jobs, whereas LVMH hotel management was PR. I sat down and I looked at it and I said, okay, which opportunity is going to make the most sense and which one is going to open more doors for later. So I went for LVMH hotel management and that absolutely opened insane amount of doors. So take every opportunity that presents itself if you think is going to be beneficial. Look for open doors, push closed doors. Like I have a few, like my last intern, she just sent her CV and she got an internship. Like this, just do the grind work, do the doing, open the doors, look for opportunities. It's not all about luck. Luck is very much made by you guys. So provoke your own luck, make it happen, and take the little jobs, take the contacts, talk to people, go to these networking events, please. They're really, really good. Maybe you meet us at the next one, you know, and then maybe we get you a job. Maybe it's another student. Maybe it's a future student in your class now that you get to. Example number one, the two of us. We did the masters together, and when was it? The end of last year, beginning of this one. I called up Carl and I said, I need a venue in Paris for my event. Are you available? And yes, we made it work and we ended up collaborating.
And your ex-company is coming back next month.
Are they? Nice. See, I get him business, he gets me business, everything's great. So that's amazing.
And one thing also I would finish with that, contain your emotions.
Oh yeah.
Contain your emotions as much as possible and be a politician at work. Although it might sound stupid what I'm saying or absurd, it's all about politics, all about who you are good with, who you like. This will help you a lot, and this is not only for luxury hospitality or luxury industry. This is in the work life. Don't ever get into fights with colleagues. Don't ever get to fights with managers or whatsoever. You never know. And this is especially in the hospitality. Hospitality word is a super small word. You never know the manager, your colleague with whom you're having a fight now. You never know, like in 5 years, where he'll be and in what situation you will be. He might be the one who will recruit you for a next job, for example. If you have bad relations with this person, if you showed that you cannot contain emotions, stuff like that, you'll never get the job, although you might be the best, but it stays in the head. So contain your emotions, be a nice politician, if we can say it this way, and don't fight with anyone, because like we've been saying since the beginning with Estelle, contacts and network is the most important thing. And once you have bad relations with people, it starts being complicated.
Yeah, always show your best profile for sure.
Thank you very much for your participation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I let Viola to take the hand for the end of the webinar.
Yes, thank you so much, Carl and Estelle, for sharing your insights and your expertise. I'm sure that it was very interesting for the students, and also great that they could all ask all the questions they had. Thank you for Valentin for the moderation. You did a great job. And I wish you all a nice evening. And if ever you have additional questions, feel free maybe to send an email to alumni@monaco.edu, and I can still forward your questions to Estelle and to Carl. Maybe you have questions afterwards, so we can still sort them out.
Of course.
Yeah.
And feel free to add us on LinkedIn if you have any questions, if you need anything, we will always be there for you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, and
have a nice
talk
evening,
to you soon.
everyone. Thanks for everyone.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Ciao.
Thank you.